Her name was Naomi. She was 22, soft-spoken, always in uniform, and always on time. The kind of person who answered phones with a smile and remembered guests by name, even the ones who never remembered hers. Naomi had only worked at the hotel for 8 months, but she was already known for her kindness. She listened carefully, helped patiently, and smiled even when no one thanked her. She loved the hotel, not because of the pay, but because it reminded her of her father. He used to work in hospitality too. He taught her that every job, no matter how small, had dignity, and Naomi believed that, until one guest tried to take that dignity away. The hotel was fancy, glass chandeliers, velvet chairs, soft piano music playing through the lobby. People in designer coats walked in and out. Bellhops moved quietly with carts. Everything was clean, quiet, perfect. Naomi stood behind the front desk, her name tag pinned neatly, her hands folded. She had just finished helping a family check out when the next guest stepped forward. He didn't smile, he didn't say hello. He just slapped a card on the desk. I asked for a king suite. This is a queen. Do you even read reservations? The man snapped. Naomi glanced at the screen and smiled calmly. Yes, sir. I see here that the king suite was requested, but not guaranteed. It looks like that room type was fully booked by the time you arrived. He cut her off. Loudly. Don't give me excuses. I paid for this room. I expect what I asked for. Naomi's voice stayed soft. I completely understand, sir. Let me see if anything just opened up, or if I can upgrade you. But the man leaned over the counter now. Maybe if you people learned to do your jobs, customers wouldn't be treated like this. A few heads turned. You people? Naomi asked, blinking. Don't play innocent, he barked. It's always the ones who think being polite makes up for being clueless. Her cheeks flushed. Still, she didn't raise her voice. I'm just trying to help you, sir, she said. But he wasn't listening. The man leaned in again. You think wearing a blazer and a name tag makes you important? Please, you're just a clerk behind a desk. And that's when it happened. The ding. The elevator doors behind Naomi slid open with a quiet swoosh. Out stepped a man in a gray suit. He was older, tall, with salt and pepper hair, and a calm walk. He paused, took in the scene, Naomi standing stiff and quiet, the guest, red-faced and puffed up, jabbing his finger toward her, and the room, silent now. The man stepped forward. Is there a problem here? He asked. The guest turned. Yeah. I'm being handled by someone who clearly doesn't know what she's doing. Naomi lowered her eyes. But then, the man placed a hand on her shoulder. Naomi, he said, smiling kindly, is one of the best people we have working here. The guest scoffed. And who are you? The man looked him in the eye and said calmly, I'm the owner. The guest froze. You own the place? The man nodded. I built this hotel 22 years ago. Every brick, every hallway, every policy. He turned slightly toward Naomi. And this young woman, she's like family. The guest opened his mouth, then shut it again. The owner continued, I watched you speak to her like she was beneath you. In my lobby, in front of my staff. He didn't shout, he didn't threaten, but every word hit like a hammer. This hotel doesn't serve guests who can't treat people with decency. The owner turned to Naomi. Please cancel his stay. Naomi blinked. Sir, you heard me, he said gently. Cancel the reservation. He won't be staying here tonight. The guest's voice cracked now. Wait, look, I didn't mean to. But you did, the owner said, steady as stone. And here, that has consequences. The man stammered. You can't be serious. You're throwing me out because of her? The owner gave a small, patient smile. No, I'm asking you to leave, because of you. The guest didn't say much after that. He didn't yell. He didn't argue. He just stood there for a moment, stunned, like the air had been knocked out of him. His fingers fumbled with the zipper of his suitcase. The same hands that had pointed and insulted now shook slightly as he pulled the handle up. He muttered something under his breath, too low for anyone to hear, but no one asked him to repeat it, because at that point, no one cared what he had to say. The room was silent, like the building itself was holding its breath. He turned toward the door, walked past the velvet chairs, past the soft piano music that suddenly felt louder. Past the front desk, where Naomi still stood, quiet, composed, her hands gently resting on the marble countertop. Their eyes met for the briefest second. He looked away first, no longer bold, no longer towering, just small. He pushed open the glass doors, stepped into the sunlight, and disappeared into the street crowd outside. Gone. No applause, no cheering, just silence, the kind that speaks louder than anything. Naomi exhaled slowly. She hadn't even realized she'd been holding her breath. Her palms were still sweating. She wasn't sure what to feel. Relief? Shock? A little sadness that it had to happen this way. The owner stepped closer, his voice gentle. "You okay?" She nodded once, eyes still on the door. "Thank you," she said softly. But he shook his head. "No, Naomi, thank you for keeping your calm, for standing your ground, and for reminding this place what real strength looks like." She smiled for the first time that morning. Not big, not proud, just quiet and real. Like something had shifted, not just in the room, but in her. The next morning, everything looked the same. At first, same clean lobby, same fresh flowers by the elevator, same piano music floating through the air, like it always did. But behind the front desk, something was different. A new sign had been added to the wall, framed in simple gold, centered neatly between the clocks and the check-in monitor. It wasn't big, it didn't glow, but it caught every guest's eye. It read, "At this hotel, respect is not optional, it's the foundation." G.B. Lancaster, founder. That name meant something in the hotel world. The Lancaster family didn't just own buildings, they built them with values that mattered. The story of what happened the day before spread like wildfire. Some staff whispered about it in the break room, others shared it over coffee, with wide eyes and quiet smiles. And Naomi, she didn't brag, she didn't retell the story herself, she just kept showing up. Same blazer, same name tag, same calm voice. But now, when she stood behind the desk, something had changed. People looked at her with respect, not just because the sign said so, but because she had earned it, the hard way. And every time the elevator dinged, someone new walked into a place where kindness was guarded, not taken for granted. Because in one moment, a raised voice got quiet, and quiet strength stood tall. He raised his voice to feel powerful, but real power walked out of the elevator and reminded everyone, respect isn't a gift, it's a requirement.